Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, so
Good
it
afternoon.
is 4:01 p.m. I guess we should start. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our social anxiety seminar. My group members, Aliyah Guevara, Amisha Mangal, Priya Singh, and myself, Sarah Batiste, are delighted to have you. Before we begin, I just want to apologize on behalf of one of our hosts. She isn't feeling well, however, she is still joining us today. We also want to thank you guys so much for completing the survey sent to you. It has helped us tremendously, and I hope that after this training seminar, we would have helped you in some way too. Now let's begin. So one thing I've noticed that we all have in common here is that we're all going through some form of social anxiety, and we're all here to learn how to deal with it. Am I right? Please send me some thumbs up emojis, the clap hands, or hearts if you agree.
Yeah, I send the thumbs up, so I'm not too sure if it's, try again. Yeah?
Yes, I'm seeing it. Thank you, Avril. Okay, so I see some of you agree that we have one thing in common. So why don't we find out what other things we have similar in by breaking out of that ice block you've frozen yourself into. So let's get to know each other more. On to you now, Priya.
Okay, guys, welcome to our seminar. Before we begin today's session, I'd like to ask everyone to introduce themselves, focusing on their first names and one item they like with the initial of their first name. So, for example, my name is Priya and I like pineapple. So, anyone can begin.
Well, I can go next and say, so hi everyone, my name is Sarah and I love snakes.
I'll go next. I'm Aliyah and I like animals.
I'll go next. My name is Amisha and I like almonds. They're my favorite type of nut.
Hi, I am Marlene Lewis Batiste and I like marshmallows.
Hi, my name is Ariel and I like apples.
Hi, my name is Selena and I like songs.
My name is Amy and I love makeup.
Hi, my name is Ethan and I love eating food.
Hi, my name is Anna and I love pizza.
Hi, my name is Ravina and I love roses.
Okay, so I believe that is everyone. I hope we don't have any shy people here today. Okay, so moving on to our objectives for today.
Okay, so our objectives, the effect of social anxiety and COVID-19 on university students in Trinidad and Tobago are the topic of today's seminar. So firstly, we are going to have a discussion on social anxiety, the causes of social anxiety, the effect it have on individuals, how can one manage social anxiety, all linked into COVID-19, and lastly, we'll take any questions from our audience.
Okay, so we'll begin our social anxiety discussion by firstly defining social anxiety. According to the American Psychological Association, social anxiety refers to feelings of fear in social situations. Individuals fear the potential of embarrassment and negative evaluation from others. But how does social anxiety link to COVID-19? According to international data, the effects of COVID-19, in particular limited physical interactions and opportunities to socialize, as well as the shift to e-learning, have affected university students. Students have reported increased social anxiety and deteriorated social skills, and keep in mind that this data is international. Now I would like everyone to think about any personal experiences that you may have had with social anxiety, whether it is in response to COVID-19, online school, or whatever the case may be. And while you all are thinking about an example, I'm gonna share my personal experience with social anxiety and online learning. And when I'm finished, I would like some of our participants to share their experiences. Okay, so recently, and I'm talking like last week, I went to a live class. And when I got there were other students in the class, but my lecturer told me that none of the students present would be able to answer her questions and participate in the class because they were either at work or on the road, so they couldn't use their mics to respond. So she said to me, Amisha, I'm gonna have to pick on you today to answer my questions. Well, once I heard that, I got instantly anxious. I was so scared that she would ask me a question that I did not know the answer to, and ultimately embarrass myself and have her and my other classmates negatively judge me. It's because I know that when I have to do something on the spot, I tend to fumble my words, so I got really anxious. And well, my lecturer did end up asking me a question, and I did fumble my response because in the moment I felt socially anxious. And I know that this would not have happened if I was in a face-to-face class, because of course the other students would have been present in the sense that they would have been able to actually participate. So that's my experience with social anxiety and online learning. I don't know if anyone here can relate, but now I would like some members of our audience to share their experiences with social anxiety, of course, if you are comfortable in doing so.
So is anyone willing to share, or should I share mine first?
Well, I could go.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, in terms of social anxiety, the closest experience I had, well, on several occasions, is like presenting information, or even like coming to this seminar. Like, I don't know, my hands are all sweaty. I don't know for what reason. It's not like schoolwork, it's about learning something, but still, like, I don't know, I just can't get over it. Like anything to present or even like to interact with other people sometimes. Well, yeah, it's a bit tough, but yeah.
I think that's a wonderful example that everyone here could relate to.
Yeah, because even right now, even though you can't see it, my hands are absolutely sweaty. All right, would anyone else like to share anything? No? Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, so we know that some of us here are probably going through social anxiety symptoms right now, but let's move on and look at the causes of social anxiety, okay?
So now that we've begun to understand what exactly is social anxiety, we can dive into what can cause it. So I want you to raise your hand if you ever felt fear in a social situation, or if you constantly worry about humiliating yourself in front of others, or even if you avoid social settings out of fear of embarrassment. Well, social anxiety can be triggered by many factors, such as meeting unfamiliar people, talking to people in front of class, like how I am talking to you all right now, being called on to speak in your class, presenting in front of others, or even talking to your lecturer. So what are some of the causes of social anxiety? The environment. So our environment plays a significant role in social anxiety. As a child, we are exposed to various situations that influence us. For example, did other kids ever bully you or make fun of you? Well, even if you had little to no reaction at the time, this experience could have caused you to develop a fear of humiliation and social anxiety as you grew older. Secondly, we have observation. So another cause of social anxiety is through observation. Have you ever felt like the entire room is staring at you? Or like people are gossiping about you everywhere that you go? I know that I have, but oftentimes we misread people's actions and their intentions, and this causes us to become anxious and self-conscious. Next, we have technology, which is probably one of the biggest factors right now as we have the switch to online learning. So the switch to online modes of learning has significantly limited our physical interactions. This limitation has led to social isolation and causes many persons to develop social anxiety as they no longer know how to interact with persons or even how to start a simple conversation. And our fourth factor is the parental styles. So our parents can also contribute to the development of social anxiety. Overprotective and controlling parents, family conflicts, or feeling like episodes of anxiety are not validated leads us to adapt to these attitudes. And many times it causes us to avoid social situations because they are just unfamiliar to us, which leads to social anxiety because we do not know how to interact in these situations.
So, the effects of social anxiety. Here we have, despite the fact that anxiety is recognized as a normal part of learning, the impact of social anxiety is often overlooked, as we all here know, right? For example, as the pandemic, we know COVID-19 progressed, many students may have find it more difficult to cope with their social anxiety. Through online schooling, we know oral presentations and even simply answering questions verbally, maybe online as in seminars, during presentation and whatnot. Secondly, students are more socially nervous. They often tend to miss out on learning opportunities because they avoid interaction, as I mostly do sometimes, right? Furthermore, we know that some students, they may not understand the material being presented to them via the online platform. However, instead of asking for clarity, they may decide to avoid the interaction. Lastly, as such, an excessive focus on these fears may divert their attention away from academic knowledge, right? So rather than you focus on your critical exams, your assignments, the fear of interaction may cause you to avoid any further education, right? Because now you're reducing your prospects of greater possibilities in the future because of your anxiety. As we know, if we do not treat our social anxiety, it may often deteriorate at a faster rate. So as we move on, we have an uncomfortable child is a distracted child. Individuals may be oblivious to why they are uneasy or distracted, right? So when you tend to fidget or you engage in other behavior, it often intensifies your anxiety. Their concentration suffers as a result of this uneasiness. For example, we know during online classes, students, when we have to put on our cameras like now, right, their focus is mainly on this sphere, and then the situation will worsen because they may feel that you're being judged by others, and it will interrupt your attentiveness to what is being presented. They may also feel alone or estranged from other individuals as a result of their social anxiety. This may have a negative impact on their social life because it would eventually suffocate their learning. They will shun others from the fear of being judged, and therefore others will often avoid them. Any consideration to this will distract and detract them from their ability to learn. So lastly, we know our working memory can be harmed as a result of this because when people are uncomfortable, they tend to have a harder time remembering stuff. As we all may probably have this problem on a daily basis. Anxiety's unpleasantness and pervasive present, it tends to trump other cognitive functions.
So a big part of our seminar deals with managing social anxiety. And I know that everyone here took the survey. Thank you all again for doing so. These are the results that we were able to compile based on your answers. So 76% of participants wished to learn how to control feelings of fear, panic, and anxiety while giving oral presentations or answering questions in the e-learning environment. 71% of participants asked for the seminar to implement confidence building techniques. 41% of participants asked for the seminar to contain techniques to improve academic achievement in the online learning platform. And 53% of participants asked for the seminar to integrate techniques for managing social anxiety on the whole.
Okay, so we move on to managing social anxiety, right? As we know, our stress level, it recently increased, right? Because of the uncertainties of our worldwide pandemic and the transition to totally online, right? With Zoom sessions, webcams, public speaking, and presentation, it took on a new meaning. And our speech anxiety was already, right? It was already existent before the pandemic, and now it's increased definitely. So as a result, these are some strategies for reducing social anxiety during presentations. But before I start, would anyone like to give me like any way they think we can manage our social anxiety during oral presentation?
Maybe learn some like breathing techniques. I don't know. Or like
Okay,
even
good.
walk with something that comforts you. I don't know, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Or fidget with your hand or with the calm down.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
I usually just pretend that I'm speaking to someone that I am comfortable with and ignore all the other people that is probably listening on while I speak. And that comforts me a lot.
Okay, great. Maybe I could try some of these things sometime.
I was just about to say that I just do the same thing as well.
Okay, great.
Just
Well,
pretend that I know the person.
okay, well, let me begin. Firstly, we can prepare carefully. So when you're going to make a presentation, you have to know your material, right? Practice. You can practice by rehearsing with a friend, by yourself, right? You have to know what you're going to say so you can feel confident about your next step. Secondly, we have to establish a connection with our audience, right? So a purposeful stare into the eyes of our audience, right, could communicate that you want their attention, right? And when they give it to you, it shows that you are valuing it and it benefits both sides. We can take a security blanket with us, right? So that simply, when we're going to make a presentation, we can have like a typed out full version of what we are going to say. So that way, if we forget during our presentation, we could always take a glance of it or even use it.
Okay, Some other ways to control anxiety, fear, panic when given oral presentations would be to interpret anxiety symptoms as excitement. Remember the last time you felt a wave of raw fear minutes before a presentation or a difficult conversation? If you're like me, your first instinct was to say to yourself, stop freaking out, calm down. But it doesn't work. Why? Because it's difficult to shift from being anxious to being calm. Anxiety has a powerful momentum of arousal, which increases our heart rate, our breathing, and releases hormones that keep us alert and awake. Being calm is way on the other end of the spectrum. Various research shows that it's easy to shift from anxiety to excitement because they are both powerful stages of arousal. So how can we make this shift? You can simply wish for the opposite of what you want. So if you get anxious or panicky when given an oral presentation to do, instead of saying, I really don't want to do this, say, I want my heart rate to get as high as possible before I start my presentation. It probably sounds crazy, but this is the twisted reverse logic of beating anxiety. Another way is to seek out public speaking opportunities. Now, I don't mean that you go making your own seminars or joining debate clubs and stuff like that. God alone knows that I wouldn't even dare to think about it. What I meant was start small. Answer one question that your lecturer asks in class. Try to talk more in your oral presentations by further explaining things, or even talk about a topic in front of your youth group. There are so many little things you can do to gain experience and step over your anxiousness.
So now we're moving on to the confidence building techniques, and we have a little video for you all.
When faced with a big challenge where potential failure seems to lurk at every corner, maybe you've heard this advice before. Be more confident. And most likely, this is what you think when you hear it. If only it were that simple. But what is confidence? Take the belief that you are valuable, worthwhile, and capable, also known as self-esteem. Add in the optimism that comes when you are certain of your abilities, and then empowered by these, act courageously to face a challenge head on. This is confidence. It turns thoughts into action. So where does confidence even come from? There are several factors that impact confidence. 1, what you're born with, such as your genes, which will impact things like the balance of neurochemicals in your brain. 2, how you're treated. And 3, the part you have control over, the choices you make, the risks you take, and how you think about and respond to challenges and setbacks. But the personal choices we make certainly play a major role in confidence development. So, by keeping in mind a few practical tips, we do actually have the power to cultivate our own confidence. Tip 1, a quick fix.
I'm sorry to cut it short, but are you guys hearing?
Yeah.
I'm hearing, but I'm not seeing. It's frozen for me.
Let me retry.
When faced with a big challenge where potential failure seems to lurk at every corner, maybe you've heard this advice before. Be more confident. And most likely, this is what you think when you hear it. If only it were that simple. But what is confidence? Take the belief that you are valuable, worthwhile, and capable, also known as self-esteem. Add in the optimism that comes when you are certain of your abilities. And then empowered by these, act courageously to face a challenge head on. This is confidence. It turns thoughts into action. So where does confidence even come from? There are several factors that impact confidence. 1, what you're born with, such as your genes, which will impact things like the balance of neurochemicals in your brain. 2, how you're treated. This includes the social pressures of your environment. And 3, the part you have control over, the choices you make, the risks you take, and how you think about and respond to challenges and setbacks. It isn't possible to completely untangle these 3 factors, but the personal choices we make certainly play a major role in confidence development. So, by keeping in mind a few practical tips, we do actually have the power to cultivate our own confidence. Tip 1, a quick fix. There are a few tricks that can give you an immediate confidence boost in the short term. Picture your success when you're beginning a difficult task. Something as simple as listening to music with deep bass. It can promote feelings of power. You can even strike a powerful pose or give yourself a pep talk. Tip 2, believe in your ability to improve. If you're looking for a long-term change, consider the way you think about your abilities and talents. Do you think they are fixed at birth, or that they can be developed, like a muscle? These beliefs matter because they can influence how you act when you're faced with setbacks. If you have a fixed mindset, meaning that you think your talents are locked in place, you might give up, assuming you've discovered something you're not very good at. But if you have a growth mindset and think your abilities can improve, a challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. Neuroscience supports the growth mindset. The connections in your brain do get stronger and grow with study and practice. It also turns out, on average, people who have a growth mindset are more successful, getting better grades, and doing better in the face of challenges. Tip 3, practice failure. Face it, you're going to fail sometimes. Everyone does. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 different publishers before one picked up Harry Potter. The Wright brothers built on history's failed attempts at flight, including some of their own, before designing a successful airplane. Studies show that those who fail regularly and keep trying anyway are better equipped to respond to challenges and setbacks in a constructive way. They learn how to try different strategies, ask others for advice, and persevere. So, think of a challenge you want to take on. Realize it's not going to be easy. Accept that you'll make mistakes, and be kind to yourself when you do. Give yourself a pep talk, stand up, and go for it. The excitement you'll feel knowing that whatever the result, you'll have gained greater knowledge and understanding. This is confidence.
All right, so I hope you all are paying attention because now I want to ask, can anyone tell me some of the tips that was in that video?
Well, I should practice failure. So like accept your mistakes and maybe learn from others who are maybe like better, not better than you, but like more experienced, maybe. Another one she said, picture success. So yeah, or like pep talk. Have a pep talk with yourself. And another thing too she mentioned was to believe in your abilities. So believe you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So those are some of the main tips in there. So you picture yourself for the future. So for example, if you have a presentation to give, like how I'm presenting to you right now, You imagine that you're about to give the best presentation that you've ever given before. You also said to believe in yourself to improve. So it is important to stop believing that you are stuck with the skills and abilities that you have right now and that you cannot improve, because you can. So you need to keep trying and start believing in yourself and your ability to improve. And again, keep trying. Do not let your mistakes keep you back. Do not let the fear of humiliation or moments that seem like failures keep you back from trying over and over again until you are successful. Did anyone else come up with any more tips from the video?
One would be visualizing yourself as a winner.
Yeah, everything you're doing, imagine that you are going to do it to the best of your ability. So if you have an exam, don't say, okay, I'm gonna do this exam and I'm gonna fail. No, when you go into an exam, you go in with the mindset that I'm going to pass this exam and I'm going to do my best. And well, another method that was in the video is that you can try different little things to calm yourself, whether it be listening to music or watching something funny, just something to excite you and to put you in a positive mood.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the techniques to improve academic performance.
As stated earlier, there are some individuals from our target audience that asked for our seminar to incorporate techniques to improve academic performance in online learning. So, some effective techniques that you all can use to improve performance are to actively participate in class, take notes on the material being taught, and use the internet wisely. Alright, so when I say to actively participate in class, I don't mean to go to class and answer every single question that your lecturer asks you. Of course, that is a way to enhance learning, but when I say actively participate in class, what I really mean is to complete all of your discussion forums on the e-classroom, complete all the trial quizzes posted by your lecturer, and ensure that you watch all the videos and other supplementary material provided. And I know that some of you all may think that if answering forums and stuff are not graded, then it doesn't make sense to do them. However, that is not the case. Research shows that when students make use of the forums, complete the practice quizzes, read the textbook, and watch the videos and pre-recorded lectures, it enhances their learning. Remember, when you complete the forums, not only are you applying the knowledge that you have learned, but you are also helping others to learn when they read your response. And when this happens, it opens up a discussion. If everyone did the forums, then everyone would get practice in applying the content, and everyone can learn from each other's responses. When it comes to practice quizzes, the structure and instant feedback provided allows students to once again apply their knowledge and to also find out what material they do and do not understand. So when you actively participate, you are gaining practice in the application of knowledge, so when you have a graded quiz or an assessment, there is a higher probability that you will do better because you have been pre-exposed to the content. The second technique that we have here is note-taking. Even though you are in online class and you have the PowerPoints and the videos and the other documents available on your computer, you should still take notes. Research has shown that note-taking significantly improves academic performance. Taking notes gives rise to meaningful learning. So essentially, when you are writing down the information that you have learned, you are storing that information in your long-term memory so that you can better recall it at a later time. It improves concentration and allows students to actually focus on the topic at hand. And some tips on strategic note-taking to improve performance are to write down key definitions, ideas, and concepts, document new vocabulary, relate the information learned to examples to make it more personable, use visual cues like concept maps and highlighting, use lists and bullet points to summarize main ideas, and take down information in your own words or in a way that is easy for you to understand when using your notes to revise. When revising, you wouldn't even have to pull up the information on the learning platform because you will already have it in your notebook. Not only will taking notes improve memory, but it is also convenient to use when studying and has been proven to increase academic performance. The last technique here is to use the internet wisely. When researching information, it is very productive to use the array of sources that the internet provides. Don't just use information from websites when completing assignments. Make use of the different resources available to you. So for example, there is Google Scholar that presents students with a lot of peer-reviewed articles, research papers, and other scholarly literature. There is also sites like Library Genesis that offers a wide variety of PDF textbooks available for free download. And apart from Google, YouTube is an amazing platform to gather information. Educational channels like Crash Course, Khan Academy, and the School of Life provide an abundance of information as well as the primary references that you can use to get in-depth information. Research has shown that using the resources available on the internet have increased academic performance because it widens students' scope of reading and learning. It allows students to compare and contrast multiple sources of information to ultimately utilize the sources that are most credible. So don't just use websites to gather information. Making use of the plethora of journal articles, PDFs, videos, and other materials available on the internet will increase your academic performance.
Okay, so it is with great pleasure to our guest speaker for tonight, this afternoon, sorry, Mrs. Rhonda Thompson Benjamin. She's currently a therapist at Enrich Life Limited. She holds a bachelor's degree in social work and a master's degree in counseling psychology from USC. She has worked in the Ministry of Education in both the social work and guidance counseling departments and Children's Authority. She believes in giving back to society and has worked with several NGOs, including Help and Restoration for Families, to provide psychological support for families. She has also worked with several youth groups and presented at many religious and educational institutions. Her aim is to facilitate a therapeutic process that will assist clients in becoming confident in their ability to overcome challenging life experiences. She provides support for individuals and families with emotional regulation issues, stress management, dating and relationship issues, and parent and child relationships. Mrs. Thompson Benjamin strongly believes that healthy people create healthy families, and healthy families creates a healthy society. Welcome, Mrs. Benjamin Thompson.
Thank you so very much for your kind words of introduction. And I mean, it's an absolute pleasure to be here as we discuss a very important topic that not only affects students here in Trinidad and Tobago, but students across the world. So I really want to commend these particular students for putting together a presentation with so much relevant content and for doing it so effectively. So again, I want to welcome you to our presentation today. It would not be a long one, but I would really appreciate your engagement. Before we go on, I want to acknowledge Ms. Vanessa Nelson, who is the lecturer for this course, and any other specially invited guests. Yeah. So today we would be talking about ways to manage social anxiety, right? Thank you so very much for permitting me to share my screen. So just give me 1 second as I get that presentation going. Thank you so very much. Okay. Anxiety. Now, I want you to imagine with me and with the intention of carrying on with your day, yeah? And then you realize that you are no longer on your bed, but you are actually on the floor. And when you look around, you notice that there are persons approaching you. And as you look a little closer, you realize that these individuals are dressed differently. And their facial features are different from that which you are accustomed seeing. They begin interacting with each other and examining every single aspect, every single point of your body. How would you feel? How would you feel in that case? How would you feel? I want to see some responses here. How would you feel in that situation? All right, I'm looking at the chat. I'm guessing everyone would feel normal in that situation. I don't know about you, but I would be afraid. I would be terrified because it is not something that I am accustomed to, and I would be afraid of being judged. And can I propose to you that many persons who have social anxiety, this is their experience on a day-to-day basis. Imagine feeling every social space you enter, you are really judged and you feel embarrassed by some of the behaviors. And sometimes, those behaviors are not even displayed, but they are perceived. So this is the experience of someone with social anxiety. Let's move on. Now, what is social anxiety? Social anxiety is a marked fear or anxiety about one or more social situations in which the individual is exposed to possible scrutiny by others. And this is from the American Psychiatric Association. Now, social anxiety is not shyness. Social anxiety is not introversion. So those things are personality traits and they are acceptable. However, now, anxiety among university students. Now, one research has shown and has found that the prevalence of anxiety among university students to be 53.85%. Now, students, can you imagine that? 53.85%. This means that this is something that should concern us. And even as academic scholars, it's very important that we understand statistics and be able to provide, even when you go on to further education and doing your thesis and having these things done, it's important to analyze these anxiety among university students. Yeah. Now, we want to talk about some practical interventions, what you can do if you have social anxiety, or what you can do to help support other students or individuals as they navigate this very challenging diagnosis. Now, number one, you must examine your core beliefs and how they compound your anxiety. Now, we know, in social sciences, behavioral sciences, we know that our thoughts affect our feelings and our feelings affect our behaviors. So what are your thoughts about yourself? What do you think about other persons around you? What do you think about the world? Do you think that the world is a bad place? Sometimes we really need to take a step back and really analyze our thoughts. And one way we can do this is by having a thought log. So anytime you feel anxious, anytime that fear is creeping up upon you, you can write this experience. What are you feeling? What are the senses telling you? So that you can begin to process, your challenges. And you need to identify your vulnerabilities. Is it that you are more anxious when you are tired? Is it that you are more anxious when you are hungry? You need to identify your vulnerabilities because you have to make plans to address these concerns. So if you realize when you are hungry, your anxiety skyrockets, it's important that you have a plan in place to ensure that you eat meals to prevent the escalation. Number two, and you all would have done such a wonderful job in explaining some of these ways to manage social anxiety. And another one is to manage time effectively so you are not rushed or overwhelmed. Remember, students, that somebody who has social anxiety, they already have a overactive HPA axis. So you want that if you are going to a presentation or if you are going in a social setting, let's say you are going to a party, it's Christmas time, a family get together, ensure that you prepare before time and you manage your time wisely so that your anxiety does not escalate. You want to be able to go in social settings as calm as possible. And as we would have mentioned before, you have to be able to identify your vulnerability. Be prepared. Be prepared as university students. You have to know what is expected of you. Do you have your course outline? Do you go through your course outline to see what exactly is expected of you? If you are going into a setting that you do not know, this could be a very vulnerable place for you to be in. So it's important that if you can go the day before, maybe to see the classroom or wherever you would be presenting or wherever you would be socializing. I think this really helps, especially my clients who have symptoms of social anxiety. Ask a lot of questions. What should I wear? What do you expect? How long would this interaction be? And that really helps you to prepare for any social setting. Get a checklist, write out the things that you have to do. Okay, I have to ensure that my shoes is clean. I have to ensure that I brush my teeth. Have a checklist, and this would help you to become confident because you would know that you would have made adequate preparation to engage in a social setting. Have a backup. Now, students, we all know when we are presenting, things could happen, right? And it's important when I'm presenting, I would have a hard copy too, and I would have my presentation saved on my laptop, and I will also have it on the cloud. So this is extremely important for someone with social anxiety. You want to be sure that you are adequately prepared to really lower these symptoms of anxiety. Guided imagery and rehearsal is really, really important. And you want to visualize the scene, Okay, I'm going to present tomorrow. I wonder what I would be seeing. Imagine your classmates sitting there. Imagine what you would be smelling. Are you smelling the marker for the whiteboard? Use all your senses and prepare your body. So when you go for the presentation, it would not be completely new. Yeah? So let's move on. examine the facts and probability. Now, someone who has social anxiety, they may be worried, what if I go to present, my pants will fall down, and we might find this very funny, right? But persons who have social anxiety, this is their fear, this is their reality. So you want to imagine the worst case scenario. Okay, my pants might fall down, but what is most likely to happen? Is that likely to happen? I remember a client saying, I wonder if I go to present, if something would fly out of my mouth or out of my nose. And that is something that we really had to work through together. Is that likely to happen? Things happen all the time. But what can we do to prevent these things from happening, right? Sometimes now we are in a virtual learning space. And sometimes that is not going to happen if we are presenting via a virtual medium. But if we are in person, sometimes we still have to wear our mask. So something may not fly out of your mouth or nose, your pants may not fall because you would wear a belt or you can wear a dress. So it's very important to examine the facts and probability. Now, it is important for you to get support. Who are those persons that you feel comfortable around? It might be your parents, and while they may not be able to come into the classroom with you, before you go, you can give them a call and they could validate you, they could validate your feelings and provide encouragement, which would really boost your confidence that you need. Utilize thought stopping. And this is a practical technique that I use with my clients. When the thought comes, acknowledge the thought, because you don't want to suppress these thoughts, because that would even increase anxiety. So you want to acknowledge the thought. Okay, I am afraid right now. How am I feeling right now? Okay, this is happening, but let me redirect my thoughts, because you do not want your thoughts to go down a path that would cause great anxiety. So you acknowledge and then you redirect your thoughts. Yeah. Now you want to use grounding techniques. Somebody would have mentioned deep breathing. And this really it signals to your brain that, okay, I am not in a threatening situation, right? And it really allows your body to really come down to that baseline. And developing the stress tolerance techniques, they also work. They are very important. So persons who find that their social anxiety is preventing them from moving and accomplishing their goals, even in the present, we do things like pulling, ice into your hands, taking a hot or cold shower. And this really distracts the mind and helps you to come back to that wise mind. Yeah, because you all know we would have our logical mind and then our emotional mind. But when we apply these techniques, it really brings us into our wise mind, so that we would be able to make effective and important decisions in the moment. Desensitization, and you all would have alluded to this before. You want to expose yourself slowly to that thing that really triggers you, or that social setting that really triggers you. We know the cycle of anxiety. So you would experience anxiety. You would do everything to remove yourself from any particular triggers that are associated with that anxiety. And then it happens, you are in a space where you feel anxious again and it raises. So preventing or trying to avoid these social situations may not be helpful. But what you can do is take a step-by-step approach to really exposing yourself to these situations. So in class, you may not want to present a whole to your entire classroom. But what you can do is start by asking questions. And you may be a little confused in your mind. So you might want to write out the question. Remember, we want simple, practical steps. So you can write out your question and maybe read that question in the classroom. And when you make these small steps, it really helps you to feel confident in your ability. And number 9, this is our last practical tip. It is to seek professional help. Sometimes people wait until things are so difficult, things are so challenging, to seek professional help. But if you realize that this is a challenge for you, seek a therapist. You can reach out, and that person who is trained would be able to help you navigate these experiences, right? So these are some of the references that I would have implemented in the presentation. And just in case students would want to know how to reach out to me to access my services, this is my number, 312-1633. You can follow me on Instagram, and you can also follow the company that I work for, which is Enriched Life Limited. So now is the point where you can ask me the questions that you have, right? If you have a burning question, now is the time for you to ask. I asked a question in the chat and I didn't see any responses at all. So I'm hoping that, the presentation was clear, right? This is a space of learning. There is no wrong or right question or answer if you have something to input. So I'm giving you the opportunity now to ask any question that you may have.
I guess I have a question to ask then. For someone who is seeking, I guess, professional help with regards to social anxiety, what exactly would you say to someone who wants to seek help but is afraid of seeking help?
That is a beautiful question. I love that question, because someone who has social anxiety, naturally, they would not want to have that social interaction. You don't want anybody new coming into your space. So what you have to do is really examine your thoughts. What exactly are you fearful about? Is it that you are afraid that you would be judged by the counselor? And I always tell my clients, there's nothing that you can say that I have not heard. It's a space where you can be open, a space where you can be free to share. And it's important for you to really push yourself, because when they come to counseling, you realize this is what I have been missing out on. Sometimes it just takes that first step and getting the social support. So tell your friend, your best friend, I really want to seek counseling, and that person could maybe come in with you in that first session and really help you to be comfortable. And when you are okay, well, of course, you would have to interact with your therapist first and see if that's possible. But you really want to receive the support that you need. And I think once you make that first step, I think everything else will fall into place.
Okay, well, that certainly helps. Does anyone else have any questions to ask Mrs. Benjamin? Okay, so, well then, I want to thank you so much, Mrs. Thompson Benjamin, for coming out to speaking to our seminar. I know that everyone here would have learned something new, and it's been very insightful just hearing from you. So if you guys need any, if you guys haven't taken down the contact information that she's had on her presentation, we also have it here, so we could always give it to you if anything. Okay, well, thank you so much again, Mrs. Thompson Benjamin, and take care.
Thank you so very much. It was indeed a pleasure. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 All right, so We are now moving on to the last activity of our seminar, which is dun, 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 trivia. We are going to do a fun trivia on what you guys, well, what we have taught in the presentation, and I hope you guys have at least learned something. So before we begin, let me just explain the rules of the game. So there will be two teams. Team 1 includes all the participants that Priya and Aliyah invited. So if you know that Priya or Aliyah invited you to come to this seminar, then you're in Team 1. And Team 2 includes all the participants that Amisha and myself, Sarah, invited. So once we start, Team 1 will go first. Anybody who raises their hands, well, when I ask the question, whoever raises their hands first in Team 1 gets to go first. Afterwards, after you've responded, we will then move on to the next team and so on and so forth until the trivia is finished. So I'm now going to pull it up now, so please bear with me. All right. Let's start round 1. Okay, so the first question is, social anxiety is, there are 4 responses. So anyone from Priya and Aliyah's team can raise their hands and see if they could answer it correctly.
It wouldn't be like a scientific definition, but I think it's a mental condition where you are of fear and of being judged by others in social situations.
Okay, oh my goodness. Well, you've gotten actually 2 correct. So so it is, social anxiety is a mental health condition or psychological issue, and it also is feelings of fear in social situations. So, oh my goodness, team 1, you have 175 points.
Yay.
Okay, team 2, Amisha's team and my team. You guys, come on, you guys have to think of 2 more responses. If you'll need a hint, I am open to giving hints to both team 1 and team 2. So team 2, please, if you need a hint, let me know. You may have to unmute if you want, because I don't think I could see the hands raising.
Yeah, you can give a hint.
A hint?
Yeah.
Okay. So a hint. Is social anxiety permanent or is it treatable? I think that's more of giving the answer, but
It's treatable.
yes, it is. It is treatable.
Sarah, I think you give that answer away.
Oh gosh. You guys, well, I didn't mean it, but I mean, you guys are like 175 points ahead. Okay, so I didn't mean to, I'm not cheating, I'm not cheating. Okay, so team 2 has 50 points. I'm moving back to team 1. Do you guys think you could guess the last one? Or do you need a hint?
Well, I will try.
Okay.
But I think it affects like day-to-day activities. So yeah, something like that along that lines.
That is true, but it's not the answer. Do you want to try again?
Can we get a hint, please?
Okay. For the person who's experiencing social anxiety, how do you think it makes them feel? Like, what's the experience like for them?
Intense fear, like
Yes, it is correct. So social anxiety can be an awful or scary or fearful experience. Okay, well, team 1, increasing the points. Okay, we're moving on to the next question. Please bear with me for a moment. Okay, round 2. So this question is for team 2. So team 2, how does social anxiety impact students? We spoke about this at the beginning. So can you tell me any way that social anxiety affects students? Team 2. So team 2 consists of Anna, Marlene, and Ethan. Do you guys have any answers?
If people, students with social anxiety, they wouldn't want to participate in in-class events.
Yes,
due
correct.
to being embarrassed and stuff.
Well done. So they do miss out on learning opportunities. All right, cool. So team 1, it's your turn now to guess.
They have excessive focus on fears, which may divert attention from the important things such as academic work.
Wow, team 1, you really were paying attention. Correct. It impacts students on their concentration and they're easily distracted from their work. Well done. All right, team 2, you guys have a next guess. What do you think are some of the effects of social anxiety on students? Do you need a hint?
Did anyone say it affects their ability to focus, remain focused?
Yes, team 1 said that.
Oh.
Do you guys want a hint? I will try my best to give a proper hint.
Sure.
Yes, please.
Okay. It has to do with how they feel with regards to other people. How do you think social
They might
anxiety?
feel as if they're not smarter than other people.
Okay, so they would feel somehow different or alienated almost?
Yeah.
Well, yes. Social anxiety can affect students by bringing them feelings of loneliness and alienation. Which team were you from, team 1 or team 2?
2.
Team 2. Okay, cool. Yes, go team. Okay, team 1. you guys have a last question. Do you think you can get it? If you need a hint, let me know.
One's working memory can be harmed.
Yes, that is indeed correct. Well done. So once a student's memory can be greatly affected with social anxiety. Oh, you guys still in the lead? Okay. Moving on to the next question. Round 3, the question is, what are some ways to control anxiety, fear, or panic when talking in front of others? Team 2, this is for you. What are some ways to control anxiety, fear, or panic when talking in front of others? So Anna, Marlene, or Ethan, you guys could answer if you guys know. What are some ways that a person with social anxiety can use when talking in front of others or giving like an oral presentation?
Focus on what you're presenting on and not on the people you're presenting to.
Pardon, what did you say?
Focus on what you're presenting on your material and not the people you're presenting to.
Okay, well, that is close to know your material and prepare carefully. So well done, Ethan. All right, team 1, do you guys want to give it a shot?
Prepare beforehand.
Yes, but that's already taken.
Oh, sure. Sorry.
You can try again. You can try again. It's fine.
Practice beforehand, probably in front of a mirror or somebody that you are comfortable with.
Yes, that is one, but it's not on the thing. Do you guys want to try one more time?
Interpret anxiety symptoms as excitement.
Yes, yes, that's correct. 125 points goes to team 1. Good job. Okay, team 2, do you guys have another way that someone who is socially anxious can use when talking in front of people or giving oral presentations? Come on, you guys, we talked about this in the presentation.
Deep breathing.
Yes, deep breathing is one, but it's not up here. Try again. Marlene, Anna, you guys want to try?
I can't really remember now, but is it trying to act as though you know the audience or conversation?
Yes, yes, connect with the audience is one. Correct.
Okay, good.
All right, team 1, would you guys like to guess? We have 2 more. If you guys need a hint, just let me know.
Oh.
We'll take the hint.
How about typing out your notes? So like how to say it? Like you're presenting, but you're like type out your notes so you know exactly what you're going to say.
That is close to saying carrying a security blanket. Yes, well done. All right, team 2, the last question is for you. Well, the last point is for you. What is one more way that someone can use when giving oral presentations or talking in front of people? Come you guys, if you need a hint, I'm here. I will try to be as non-biased as possible.
Yeah, sure, take a hint.
All right. What can the person do, the person who's suffering from social anxiety do to desensitize or reduce their fear? I'm guessing the hint did not help. Team 1, you guys think you could answer it?
Would it be seeking out opportunities for public speaking?
Yes,
Or,
yes,
okay.
it is. Well done. It is seeking out public speaking opportunities, which will gain experience and help you reduce your social anxiety. So 25 goes to team 1. And our final question for the game. What are some techniques to improve academic performance? Team 2, you're up. What are some techniques to improve academic performance? There are only 3.
It is be prepared also.
Not quite.
Okay.
You want to try again?
Oh no, I want to think. Yeah.
Okay. All right, what are some techniques to improve academic performance? Amisha spoke about 3 techniques.
Would it be note taking?
Yes, proper note taking is one, correct. All right, team 1, it's your chance.
Using team 1 now, okay.
Yeah.
How about actively participating?
Yes, active participation is there. Well done. And team 2, your final response. Marlene, you want to give this a try? The last technique.
I think I had the first one. The first one is about Google Scholars and stuff.
Yeah, the first one. It's the last one. The last one is about Google
Scholars using YouTube.
You have the examples, but what is it?
Oh, okay.
Where can you, okay, I will give you a hint then. Where can you find Google Scholars, scholarly articles, all those things? Where? Marlene? Okay, I guess I gave away the free hint. Okay, anybody from team 1 would like to guess?
Using the internet wisely.
And there they go, well done. Using the internet wisely is one last technique that students can use to improve their academic performance. And that would be the final question that we have. So let's see the winner, though I already know that you guys know who it is. Congratulations, team 1. Music. Okay, congratulations team 1. You guys have shown that you guys actually were paying attention. Team 2, you as well. Don't think I'm hating on you. I love you guys very much too. All right, so before we close, Do you guys have any more questions you guys would like to ask with regards to anything at all? Yes, no. No?
No, none here.
Okay, so notice. All right. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for attending this social anxiety seminar. We thoroughly enjoyed sharing all this information with you, and we hope that you have enjoyed it as well and even learned from it. So again, if you guys need the information of the therapist, we are welcome to share the information with you, the contact information. So without further ado, I thank you guys again, and I hope you guys take care. All right, bye everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.